Welcome back to Taste Like Home. I'm Tash, your cooking host, and today we're going to be learning how to make chicken chow mein. I love chow mein because it can be so simple and it can be filled with as many veggies as you like. Today we're doing chicken, but you can also do it with any type of protein, or make it vegetarian or vegan if you prefer. So with that said, let's go. Okay, so today to be making our chicken chow mein, we're going to be using the following ingredients. For our sauce, we've got about 1 cup of chicken stock. We've got 2 teaspoons of soy sauce and oyster sauce, and about 1.5 of corn flour, white sugar and white pepper, plus 1/4 cup of water. And then outside of our sauce, we've also got about 1 carrot. I have grated my carrot today. I've got my green onions cut up, about 3, 1.5 cups of bean sprouts, 200 grams of chicken mince. You can use chicken breast or chicken tenderloins. I've chosen for chicken mince today. It reduces the cooking time, and depending where you go, can also be a cheaper alternative. I've got about 4 cups of green cabbage. I've got 200 grams of Hokkien noodles and some minced garlic at the front here. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first off today, to make our sauce for our chicken chow mein, we're going to be mixing together our corn flour and our soy sauce. So I always put in my liquid ingredients in first. I find that way when the powder gets in, it doesn't stick to the bottom so much and you won't find so many clumps. So I'm using my 2 teaspoons of soy sauce with my 1.5 of corn flour, and I'm just going to mix that together as much as I can. There will be slight clumps, it will cook out, so don't be too concerned about that. Just try and grab as much as you can around, and it'll start to get a little bit thicker, light brown kind of colour like that. So then after that's well mixed as much as you can, just like that, you're going to add your remaining ingredients in. So again, I'm going to add my liquid ingredients in first. I've got my chicken stock there, and then I'm going to add my sugar, white pepper, and my oyster sauce. And then once you've got that, you're just going to mix that all together and get it ready to marinate your chicken in. So what we want to do is, that oyster sauce may take a little bit to mix in. Don't worry, it will all cook out if it hasn't combined quickly. So once you have got it all stirred together, we're going to get that ready to marinate our chicken. Okay, so now that we've got our sauce all mixed together, we're going to get our chicken. I've got chicken mince here. Again, you can use any type of chicken that you'd like. And we're going to get, what I've got is a regular spoon, but it's closest to a tablespoon. So what we're going to do is, we're going to get our spoon, and we're just going to mix about 1, or just over 1, into our chicken. I've got my mince, and you're just going to let that kind of try and soak in and marinate into your chicken. And that way, while we're working on the rest of your recipe and your vegetables and noodles, the chicken can try and absorb some of the flavour. So then once that's done, you're just going to leave that to the side, and we'll come back to that after. Okay, so next up for our chicken chow mein, for our vegetables. So I've already got mine pre-prepared here, but I just want to show you as a guide what you want to be looking for. So for your cabbage, you want to try and shred that down as much as you can. The more you shred it down, the more it'll cook down to, and you won't have such big chunks. And when you are chopping up your cabbage as well, you can take out those large big white bits. They may be a bit sour when you're eating it. I've got my green sprouts here. I haven't done anything to them. I've just gotten them out of the packet as is. They too will cook down. They give a nice crunch in the recipe. My carrots, I have decided to grate my carrot today, but if you would like to slice that, dice that, julienne it, you can take that as whatever you like. And we do have a video from our superstar chef Robin, who goes through how to properly do that as well. So with my green onion, I've got about 3 here. I've just thinly sliced it. I haven't separated my stalk from the rest of it because I find, especially as we don't have the other regular white onion in this recipe, it is quite nice and does give it quite a nice flavour. So you can just keep that combined there. And if you are interested in how to prepare your veggies, make sure you check out our prep video from our chef Robin. Okay, so next up is preparing our noodles. So I've just got a 200 gram packet of Hokkien noodles here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it into a bowl and use boiling hot water from my kettle. The packet does say to put it into a saucepan of boiling water and cook it for 1 to 2 minutes. As long as you've got your boiling water in your jug, you won't need to do that, and it will save you the washing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill up my bowl with my noodles in hot water. Make sure I can spread it underneath, and just soak it there for 1 to 2 minutes while we get our fry pan, and we can start on the rest of our recipe. Okay, so now that we've got our chicken, we've got everything ready, we've got our noodles in our hot water, I've got my pan up nice and high. We want it to medium to high heat, not too high. Gonna get my spray oil if you have any other oil at home. Using a non-stick pan, again, you won't need so much oil. And so what our first step is we're gonna get our minced garlic and we're gonna put that in first. So if you've got a nice and heated pan like I do, you will see it starting to spurt everywhere. I know it can be a bit scary when it starts doing that, I understand. Maybe not so high. So what I'm going to do now, so that my garlic doesn't burn off too much and doesn't cook too much, I'm going to get my chicken mince and I'm going to put that in now. You get your spatula and we can move that around, break that up a bit. And then again, make sure you've got enough oil. You don't want your chicken to be sticking to the pan. You need to add more oil as you go. Just add little bits. So I'm just going to break up my chicken, and we want to make sure that it's just starting to cook, so it's about white all over. When it's starting to get white all over, that's when we're going to add our vegetables in. So I'm just going to continuously break this up and move it around the pan until it's nice and cooked throughout. This will probably take about 1 to 2 minutes. We'll see what it looks like after then. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes now. I've been rapidly trying to break up my chicken mince as I go, as you can see. So you want to start to be about white on the outside, not fully cooked yet. It still has plenty of cooking to go on the stove, don't worry. So at this stage, when it's starting to get cooked from the outside, we're going to add our vegetables in. So I've got my cabbage here, about 4 cups. Don't worry, it looks like a lot. I know it will cook down. It reduces in size. And it is one of those great vegetables that doesn't have a lot of flavour to it either. So we have our carrot as well. We're going to add all that in. And all of our green onion too. We're going to add the bean sprouts in at a later stage, not just yet, because they don't really need cooked for too long. So we're adding our carrot, our cabbage, and our green onions in now, so they can cook in with the mince and get a bit more flavour. And that way, when we add the sauce in, it'll all be reduced down in size and be nice and combined. So we're just going to let this cook on the stove at about a medium to high heat for about 2 minutes. And we'll come back and see what it looks like then. Okay, so my cabbage and my carrot has been cooking for probably closer to 3 minutes than 2. But as you can tell, it's starting to reduce in size. Your cabbage is starting to wilt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn mine down to a low to medium heat, because you don't want it to overcook too much and it to lose all its nutritional value. And what I'm going to do is, while that is just finally cooking off there, my noodles, if you have a colander at home or a strainer, you can go and use that to drain it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a plate. So I'm just going to go and drain them, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've got my noodles all drained. If you can't get quite all the water out, then don't worry, because we do use a little bit of extra water into our recipe. So I've got that ready. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my sauce. I'm going to add all of my sauce in. You may need to get a little bit more hot water if you've got any powders left at the side on the bottom like I do. Just using a little bit of hot water. And what you can do to adjust the recipe is that extra water that we put in, reduce that amount. So I'll use this to make sure I've got all my flavour in here. And see that little quarter of a teaspoon of water? I'm only going to add a touch of that. Alright, so then we're going to mix this in. And we're going to make sure all of it gets cooked into our sauce. And we're going to leave that to simmer for a further minute to minute and a half. And just let the sauce absorb in. Okay, so it's been about another minute now. If yours is looking like mine is, which is a little bit watery, because I think I've added a little bit too much water into mine, what you can do is you can just turn up the heat to a bit of a higher heat, and the sauce will evaporate out. So that's what I've done. In the meantime, don't let that stop you. We have our noodles and we have our bean sprouts to add in. So I'm going to toss my noodles in and my bean sprouts, and we're going to mix that through, toss that through, stirring it almost constantly. So we want to make sure that everything's getting mixed in. And at this stage, we just want our sauce to thicken up and to go through our noodles and bean sprouts, and it should be ready in a few minutes. So once I keep tossing this at a high heat, because I want my sauce to start to evaporate out, we'll be ready to serve. Okay, so it's been about another 2 minutes. My sauce is starting to come down and reduce in the size of it, and veggies and my noodles are all nice and combined. So at this stage, I think it's looking like a really nice chow mein, and I'm excited to try it. I know that there's a transitional worker that we have around, Rachel. Rachel, would you like to come out and try the chow mein?
I sure would.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you like it. Oops. More fun for noodles.
That's delicious.
Thank you. Nice nutritious meal. Beautiful.